Hello friends, this is the second part from your second year syllabus in the chapter haloalkanes and haloarenes, and I am solving multiple choiced questions from this chapter. In my last session I have solved 15 questions and the remaining 15 questions I shall be solving now. So beginning with, let us solve the 16th question. I hope you have a PDF file of the questions. If not, at least you have them in your mobile phone. So see there and please go on solving. And if you have already solved, then please correlate your answers with the ones that I solve here. The 16th question says the dehydrobromination of 2-bromobutane. The dehydrobromination of 2-bromobutane. 2-bromobutane is this compound. If this is subjected to dehydrobromination, then what product is obtained? The product is also already given. It is CH3, CH double bond CH, CH3. Now, after giving the product, he says the dehydrobromination of 2-bromobutane gives but2ene, and the product is a product of Hofmann's reaction, Saytzeff's reaction, Hofmann-Saytzeff reaction, or Markovnikov's product. So for carrying out dehydrobromination, that is dehydrohalogenation, we use alcoholic KOH, isn't it? Do we use alcoholic KOH? Yes, we use alcoholic KOH for carrying out dehydrohalogenation. So whenever dehydrohalogenation is done, we know that the product to be formed, and the product that is formed is always an alkene. Now for addition of hydrogen and bromine to alkenes, I mean for reverse reaction, we have a rule called Markovnikov's rule. We have a rule called Markovnikov's rule, and I believe I have solved one question related to Markovnikov's rule. You have Markovnikov's rule for addition of hydrogen halide. Yes, your fifth question is based on Markovnikov's rule. For addition of hydrogen bromide, that is hydrobromination, we have a rule called Markovnikov's rule, but for elimination of hydrogen halide or hydrogen bromide, we have a rule called Saytzeff's rule. And what does this rule say? This rule says that during the elimination of hydrogen halide from a haloalkane, hydrogen must be removed from that carbon which is containing least number of hydrogen atoms. This means you will obviously remove halogen from this carbon. It will go as KBr. It will go as KBr. Now, after bromine has been eliminated, from whichever carbon you are eliminating bromine, you are supposed to remove hydrogen from its adjacent carbon. So here you have got two options, either the first carbon or this carbon. So out of these two carbons, whichever carbon contains less number of hydrogen atoms, you are supposed to remove hydrogen from there. This is according to which rule? Saytzeff's rule, which says during the elimination of hydrogen halide, hydrogen must be removed from that carbon which contains least number of hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen must be removed from that carbon which contains least number of hydrogen atoms. On that note, you should remove hydrogen from here along with OH, so that the other byproduct will be water, and this product is obtained according to Saytzeff's rule. So the product obtained is a Saytzeff's product. It is a Saytzeff's product. For 16th question, The correct answer should be B. It is a Seydt-Zeff's product and not Hoffman product or Hoffman-Seydt-Zeff or Markovnikov's. Then 17th question. 1-chlorobutane reacts with alcoholic KOH to form. This is again the same question based on Seydt-Zeff's rule. It says 1-chlorobutane. This is 1-chlorobutane. It reacts with alcoholic KOH. You should be knowing that by alcoholic KOH, a compound undergoes dehydrohalogenation, that is removal of hydrogen and halogen. So if alcoholic KOH is reacted with 1-chlorobutane, what happens? See, you will remove halogen along with K, so you get KCl as one product. Then from whichever carbon you are eliminating halogen, eliminate hydrogen from the adjacent carbon. So from here you will eliminate water, and what remains is CH3, CH2, CH double bond, CH2. So the double bond appears here because after losing one hydrogen, its bond shifts in between the first and second carbon. So you have got the product but1-ene. You will get but1-ene as major product. So 1-chlorobutane reacts with alcoholic KOH to form 1-butene, 2-butene, 1-butanol or 2-butanol. The correct answer is A, 1-butene or but1-ene. This is 17th question. Now you have got 18th question. It says, which of the following statements is incorrect? Please follow this question very carefully. It says which of the statements given is incorrect, means which of the statement is wrong. Let us see one by one. The first option is ethyl bromide, that is C2H5Br. Ethyl bromide reacts with alcoholic KOH to form ethyl alcohol. Just now from 16th and 17th question, it was made clear that if you are using alcoholic KOH, it gives dehydrohalogenated product. So alcoholic KOH is a reagent that is used for dehydrohalogenation. In place of alcoholic KOH, if you are using aqueous KOH, then only nucleophilic substitution will take place to give you product alcohol. Please follow this very carefully, that if you are reacting an alkyl halide with KOH and if this KOH is alcoholic, the product obtained will be an alkene. If the same haloalkane or alkyl halide is reacted with KOH that is aqueous, then you are getting nucleophilic substituted product, that is alcohol. You have studied these two reactions where in a nucleophilic substitution reactions of haloalkanes. Keeping that in mind, if you are trying to solve the first option, it says C2H5Br reacts with alcoholic KOH, then what should be the product? You know, any alkyl halide when reacted with alcoholic KOH should give you an alkene, but according to this option it says to form ethanol. To form ethanol. Is this correct? No, it is wrong. This does not happen. And what should be the correct product? The correct product should be CH2 double bond CH2 plus KBr plus H2O. This should have been the correct one. So according to the four options, the first option is incorrect. The first statement is incorrect. So your correct answer should be option A. Let us see the second option also. The second option says ethyl bromide when treated with metallic sodium gives ethane. This is with respect to Wood's reaction. It says ethyl bromide C2H5Br reacted with metallic sodium. For Wood's reaction you compulsorily need dry ether, and it says the product is ethane C2H6. This is again wrong. Why wrong? Listen very carefully. Wood's reaction is a reaction that is used for chain lengthening. Lengthening means increasing. Wood's reaction is one such reaction that helps you to prepare alkanes, to prepare higher alkanes from haloalkanes, to prepare higher alkanes, bigger alkanes from alkyl halides. So if in the reaction you have a haloalkane that contains 2 carbons, then excuse me, then in the product side you will get an alkane with 4 carbon atoms. Understood? Wood's reaction gives you a product alkane that contains double the number of carbon atoms than seen in haloalkane. If alkyl halide has got 2 carbons, then your product alkane should have got how many carbons? It should have got 4 carbons. So if this is true, then what is the correct product to be obtained? The correct product should have been C4H10. You should have got C4H10. That is, butane should have been the product if ethyl bromide is reacting with metallic sodium in Wood's reaction. So according to the given options, tell whether the second statement is correct or incorrect. It is also incorrect. So you have got now 2 answers. For one question you have got 2 answers. Never mind, C option. Ethyl bromide when treated with sodium ethoxide. Ethyl bromide when treated with sodium ethoxide forms diethyl ether. Ethyl bromide when treated with sodium ethoxide, this is sodium ethoxide, forms diethyl ether. So if these 2 are removed, you will have C2H5OC2H5, and this is diethyl ether. This is correct option. So this statement is correct. Can this be one of the answers that you are searching for? No, it cannot be. Then D. Ethyl bromide when treated with silver cyanide forms ethyl isocyanide. Forms ethyl isocyanide. That is C2H5Br with AgCN will give you C2H5NC plus AgBr, and this option is also correct, because with AgCN you will always get isocyanides. If it were KCN, then you would have got simply cyanides. Understood? This is the difference between AgCN and KCN reactions with an alkyl halide. With alcoholic AgCN, you are likely to get isocyanates, so this is also correct. Now, keeping these 4 options in mind, the question says which of the following statements is incorrect. So what will be your answers? Your answer could be A, because this statement is incorrect. Your answer could be B, because this statement is also incorrect. But it cannot be C and D, because these 2 are correct statements. So for only this specific question you have got 2 correct options. So this type of questions can be given when you have a question like you will get multiple answers out of the options given below. Sometimes you will have 5 options, out of which 2, 3, even 4, or sometimes all of the options might be correct. In that case, this kind of options, after giving these kind of options, they will then give you another options, like say first option, A and B are correct. Second option, only A is correct. Third option, A and C are correct. Fourth option, all are incorrect. So based on these options, you will get other options and you need to search answers here and not here. Understood? So for this question, 18th question, you have got two answers, that is option A and B. Both of these statements are incorrect. Then move on to the next question. 19th question. Haloalkane in the presence of alcoholic KOH undergoes. See, from 16th questions we are solving the same kind of questions. From 16th question was Seitzeff's product, that is nothing but dehydrohalogenation. 17th question, it was again about dehydrohalogenation. In 18th question, the first option was with respect to dehydrohalogenation. You again now have 19th question, that is with respect to dehydrohalogenation only. Let us see how. A haloalkane in the presence of alcoholic KOH undergoes. Let us see one haloalkane, RCH2CH2X, any haloalkane plus alcoholic KOH. Whenever alcoholic KOH reacts with a given haloalkane, I said the haloalkane undergoes a dehydrohalogenation. That is, halogen and hydrogen both get removed from the haloalkane. For that reason, X and K are to be removed as KX plus H and OH are to be removed as water. So from a given reactant, you are expelling two atoms and you are not adding anything extra to this. Understood? So what kind of a reaction is this? Can you guess? The product is RCH double bond CH2. It is an alkene. So what kind of a reaction is this, wherein something from a reactant gets removed, expelled, discarded, eliminated? So keeping this in mind, now I hope you have got your answer. It is option A, elimination. Can it be polymerization? No. If it were to be polymerization, then many such carbon atoms would have joined one after the other. Can it be dimerization? Dimer means joining of two compounds. No, it is not. Is it substitution? No. When would it have been a substitution reaction? If in place of alcoholic KOH, you had aqueous KOH, only then this reaction would have given you a substituted product. But with respect to alcoholic KOH, you will always get alkene as the product. So it is elimination reaction. So option A is the correct answer for 19th question. Then 20th question. In the following sequence of reactions, a set of reactions is given and you are supposed to find out the last product. Let us first write out the reaction for 20th. We have got propyl bromide. It is reacting with alcoholic KOH and gives A. That is reacted with HBr, you are getting B, and it is reacting with KOH, that is aqueous, and you are getting C. You are supposed to find out what C is, isn't it? Okay, now let us solve this question. The same question as the above, as the 19th. Whenever alcoholic KOH comes into picture with the haloalkane, dehydrohalogenation takes place. Remove hydrogen and halogen, and see what product is obtained. You will get CH3, CH double bond CH2, because KBr minus KBr, OH and H from here will go as water. So you will be left with propene. A is propene. Okay, A is propene. Now this propene is reacted with HBr. It is hydrohalogenation or Markovnikov's addition. Keeping this in mind, in Markovnikov's addition, what does the rule says? The negative part of the adding molecule should go to the carbon atoms involved in the multiple bond, should go to the carbon atoms involved in the multiple bond to that carbon which contains least number of hydrogen atoms. Keeping that in mind, so you will get CH3, CHBr and CH3. You will get 2-bromo-propane as the product B. B you got 2-bromo-propane. Then if it is reacted with aqueous KOH, what product is obtained? I told you with aqueous KOH it always undergoes substitution, with alcoholic KOH elimination. So with aqueous KOH, this Br and K will go, in its place OH appears, therefore CH3, CHOH, CH3 is the product, final product. Now what is the IUPAC name for this compound? It is propane to all. It is propane to all. So out of the 4 options, option A propane to all, propane 1 all, propine or propene, what should be the correct answer? Option A is the correct answer for question number 20. Then 21st. Which of the following gases are poisonous? Which of the following gases are poisonous in nature? The first is chloroform. Do you think chloroform is poisonous? If it were poisonous, then it would not have been used as an anesthetic agent in surgeries. Of course, nowadays chloroform is being replaced by other compounds, that is usually ethers. I believe ethers is now used as an anesthetic agent. But I do not think, and it is obvious that chloroform cannot be poisonous, because if it were poisonous, it shouldn't have been used in operations for anesthesia. So chloroform cannot be the option. Is it CO2? No. It's common observation that CO2 cannot be poisonous, because you exhale carbon dioxide and sometimes you inhale it also. It doesn't cause you any harm. So carbon dioxide is also not poisonous. Is it carbon monoxide? Yes. Reason? Carbon monoxide, if inhaled, will get transported along with hemoglobin, as hemoglobin is a transport protein. The work of hemoglobin is to carry oxygen to wherever required. Now if in the place of oxygen carbon monoxide comes and gets itself attached to hemoglobin, then hemoglobin and carbon monoxide both combine to form a complex called carboxyhemoglobin. It forms a complex called carboxyhemoglobin. Unlike the reaction between oxygen and hemoglobin, where they both form again a complex called oxyhemoglobin, this reaction between oxygen and hemoglobin is a reversible reaction. That is, hemoglobin carries oxygen to a place required, gives it there, comes back free. So we say attachment of hemoglobin with oxygen is a reversible reaction. Contrary to this, whenever carbon monoxide goes and attaches itself with hemoglobin and forms a complex carboxyhemoglobin, this reaction is irreversible. I mean to say, when carbon monoxide attaches to hemoglobin, it does not leave again. When it reaches its destination to the place where it is required, carbon monoxide does not leave hemoglobin. As a result, the number of hemoglobin molecules present inside required for carrying oxygen, they get deprived. They get a shortage. There will be a shortage of hemoglobin molecules, due to which oxygen carrying capacity decreases. As a result, a person will find shortage of oxygen. So, a person who inhales carbon monoxide for a longer time will die of oxygen starvation, as no hemoglobin molecules will be available to carry oxygen. For that reason, inhaling carbon monoxide is considered to be poisonous, harmful, and sometimes excess inhaling of carbon monoxide can prove fatal. Or is it D option? None of these. You find out the answer. It is option C. For 21st question, option C is the correct answer. Then for 22nd, for a given alkyl group, the densities of the halides follow the order. Option A, Ri, alkyl iodide less than alkyl bromide less than alkyl chloride, or alkyl iodide less than alkyl chloride less than alkyl bromide. C, alkyl bromide less than alkyl iodide less than alkyl chloride, or is it last, alkyl chloride less than alkyl bromide less than alkyl iodide? It is I and not L. Please rectify that. It is alkyl iodide. Now, to arrive at the answer for this question, I want you to go back to your periodic table and find out the halogens present in the 17th family. It begins with fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine. We do not need the last one because in the options it is not at all given. Now, from top to bottom, if you move downwards, if you move from top to downwards, atomic number increases, isn't it? Then atomic mass increases. Atomic number increases and atomic mass increases. This one word is enough to find out the answer for this. Atomic mass increases. What is the relation between density and mass? We always write this relation. Density is equal to mass by volume. This gives a very clear picture that whenever mass rises, density will also rise. Both are directly proportional. And whenever volume rises, density decreases. Keeping this in mind, please follow the options. From top to bottom, if mass is increasing, then density, it should also increase. So, who is the densest or most dense element? It is iodine, then bromine, then chlorine, then fluorine. If the same are attached with a haloalkane, if the same are attached with an alkyl group, you will get a haloalkane. So, for this again, who is the one having highest density? It is alkyl iodide, which has got the highest density. Then comes who? Then comes alkyl bromide, and then comes alkyl chloride. So, which is the correct option? Option D is the correct answer for question number 22. As mass increases, density also increases. Now, 23rd question. In the following reaction, X is, what is X in the following reaction? CH3NH2 it is an amine, methylamine, reacting with a compound X along with KOH. Let us see what this gives us. CH3NH2 plus X plus KOH gives rise to CH3NC. And CH3NC has got highly offensive odor. It has got highly offensive odor. This reaction is very popularly known as isocyanide reaction or carbylamine reaction. It is also called carbylamine reaction. Now this reaction is a very popular reaction. The reason why is, I will tell you. You might have heard about Bhopal gas tragedy, wherein in a gas plant, large amount of gas had released that caused severe health disorders. And even today, people who have suffered during Bhopal gas tragedy, their next generation is also suffering. I mean, if there was a person who was affected during Bhopal gas tragedy and he has got children now, his children are also affected. If there was a grandfather, at that time if there was a grandfather and now he has got his grandchildren, they too are getting affected. Such is the case of Bhopal gas tragedy. It was very disastrous, and therefore for this reason, in the state where this took place, there is a special reservation for Bhopal gas tragedy victims. In all kinds of sectors, there is a kind of reservation. Now this is a general topic. I want to know which gas was responsible for Bhopal gas tragedy. It was this gas called methyl isocyanide. It was this gas called methyl isocyanide. In order to prepare methyl isocyanide, the raw materials required are methylamine and alcoholic KOH along with another component, that is chloroform. If chloroform is not there, you cannot carry out carbylamine reaction, you cannot synthesize methyl isocyanide. In second year, you have one such reaction also. You have one such reaction in your practical classes in order to detect primary amine. In the lab, you will have a reaction, you will have one test to identify whether a primary amine is there or not. And how do you identify that? For identifying that, they have prescribed a carbylamine reaction. However, we do not use methylamine in order to identify primary amine. Some other amines are used which are not poisonous. Understood? And mark my words, whenever this methylamine or any isocyanide gas gets liberated, it has got a very foul smell. You cannot tolerate that smell. It is highly offensive odor. It has got highly offensive odor. It has got unbearable smell. So for 23rd question, the correct answer is B, CHCl3 chloroform, and not the others. And the reaction is called carbylamine reaction. Please make a note of it. Then 24th, depletion of ozone layer is caused by. It is a very direct question. You have been learning it from school days in environmental science, EVS, and now in chemistry and in biology also you will learn about this. So depletion of ozone layer is called by, you commonly know this by a word CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, isn't it? So chlorofluorocarbons come under the category of freons. The correct answer for 24th question is freons. Then 25, benzene hexachloride or BHC is used as a, it is with respect to second question, no? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hexachlorocyclohexane. It is called benzene hexachloride. It is used as a dye, anti-malarial drug, antibiotic or insecticide. I believe some of you have seen this BHC or benzene hexachloride. You have seen this chemical, but it might not be knowing to you. It goes by a popular name called gamexane. What goes by popular name? Benzene hexachloride is one of the active ingredient in a compound called gamexane. Now this gamexane, we use this powder in order to get rid of ants. Whenever you have got ants coming out of your crevices present in the houses, then we add this powder which is called gamexane. Understood? Now, gamexane is a kind of insecticide that is used to get rid of insects. So, the correct option is D, gamexane. This is also an active ingredient in Lakshman Rekha. What is Lakshman Rekha? I do not need to explain. Then 26th question. Which of the following is used in fire extinguishers? In the haloalkanes chapter, you have a topic called polyhalogen compounds and their uses. When I say polyhalogen compound, I refer to a haloalkane where halogen content is maximum. Understood? Or which contains more number of halogen atoms in it. So always remember, a fire extinguisher contains a haloalkane that contains maximum number of halogens, because it goes by a simple principle that more the number of halogens in a haloalkane, more is the fire dousing capacity. Fire dousing means fire extinguishing capacity. So whichever haloalkane has got more number of halogens in it, that has got more capacity to douse the fire. On that note, you have 4 options: CH4, methane, CHCl3, chloroform, CH2Cl2, dichloromethane or methylene chloride, or CCl4, carbon tetrachloride or tetrachloromethane. So find out in these 4 options which has got most number of halogen atoms. It is option D, CCl4. CCl4 is commonly known as pyrene, which is one of the main ingredient in fire extinguishers. So correct answer for 26th question is D, carbon tetrachloride. Then 27th question. The hybridization state of carbon atoms in the product formed by the reaction of ethyl chloride with aqueous potassium hydroxide is. This is a question that is based on hybridization, and to understand hybridization, you should remember your first year syllabus wherein you studied about hybridization. Now let us see what happens when this reaction is written. Reaction of ethyl chloride. So ethyl chloride is CH3 CH2Cl. What is the question number? 27. When ethyl chloride reacts with aqueous KOH, it is obvious that it is giving nucleophilic substituted product. So you will have CH3 CH2 OH plus KCl as the product. Now the hybridization state of carbon atoms in the product formed by the reaction of ethyl chloride with aqueous potassium hydroxide is. It means, what is the hybridization of these carbon atoms? It is a single bonded carbon atom, isn't it? So its hybridization is sp3, and for the next carbon it is also sp3. Here it is also sp3, this carbon is also sp3 hybridized. So no change in hybridization. What is the answer then? For 27th question, the answer is option C, sp3. No change in hybridization. 28th. Phenol reacts with chloroform and sodium hydroxide at 340 Kelvin to give. This is one of the question that correlates a haloalkane with phenols, and it is more prominent question from phenols chapter and not from haloalkanes. Nevertheless, whenever phenol reacts with what is that chloroform and sodium hydroxide at about 340 Kelvin, then you will get salicylaldehyde as the product. Salicylaldehyde as the product, or it is otherwise known 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. It is also known 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde as the product, and it is one of the named reactions from phenols chapter. It is one of the named reactions from phenol chapter, that is Reimer-Tiemann reaction. It is from Reimer-Tiemann reaction. Because you have got a haloalkane in between, the question has appeared here, but otherwise this is one of the main and most frequently asked questions from phenols chapter. For question number 28, your correct answer is option B, salicylaldehyde or 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. Then 29th question. In the following reaction, wherein a reaction is given, you are supposed to find out the product X. Let us see that question. Question number 29. It is C6H5CH2Br. C6H5 stands for phenyl ring, isn't it? So when C6H5CH2Br is reacting with magnesium in the presence of ether. This is our first reaction that is given. So you will get benzyl magnesium bromide as the product. This is half of the reaction done. And in the second stage, it says this was first, and in the second it says you are hydrolyzing this. You are subjecting this adduct to hydrolysis. What is the product obtained? It is obvious, here OH and here H. You will get toluene plus hydroxy magnesium bromide as the side product or byproduct. The main product is toluene. So option 29, you have got C6H5CH3, as this is C6H5CH2Br. For question number 29, the correct answer is C, C6H5CH3. Now for the 30th question. In the following sequence of reactions, wherein a reaction sequence is given, CH3Br reacting with KCN, then hydrolyzing, then with lithium aluminum hydride, you are supposed to find out the last product. Let us see 30th question. It is CH3Br reacting with KCN. It is easy, simple nucleophilic substitution. You will get CH3Cl because of nucleophilic substitution. This is first part, that is A. This is A. Now when this is hydrolyzed, how is Cn? It is written as C triple bond N, and it is getting hydrolyzed. While it is getting hydrolyzed, you break the bond here. Out of water molecule which has got formula H2O, put 2 hydrogens here and 1 O here. Okay. Then you take another molecule of water. You take another molecule of water and then you add one H and one oxygen here and the other H on the other side, so that ammonia is lost as a byproduct and the main product that you would be getting is CH3 COOH. This is B. This is B. You will get acetic acid, and then this is being reacted with lithium aluminium hydride, which is a very good reducing agent. Very good reducing agent to reduce carboxyl group. Whenever carboxyl groups are reduced with lithium aluminium hydride, a carboxylic acid upon reduction with lithium aluminium hydride will give you primary alcohols. How is it getting reduced? You see, it donates hydrogens. So add one hydrogen here, one hydrogen here across O and O. So you will have CH3, CHO and loss of water. This is gone as water. Now you have got CH3, CHO, isn't it? This product. To this you again add two more hydrogen atoms. You add two more hydrogen atoms. How do you add two more hydrogen atoms? One here and one here. So you will get CH3. How do you add? You add across the double bond, one H here, one H here, so that you will get CH3, CH2 and OH. You have OH. So this is C and it is nothing but ethanol. It is ethanol. Or it is otherwise called ethyl alcohol. So in the question number 30, A is methyl cyanide, B is acetic acid and C is the reduction product of acetic acid, that is ethyl alcohol. So out of the four options, that is acetaldehyde, ethyl alcohol, acetone and methane, the correct answer is B, ethyl alcohol. So this completes some of the multiple choice questions from the chapter haloalkanes and haloarenes. In our next session, I shall try to solve some questions from the chapter alcohols, phenols and ethers. For this, you will be sent synopsis from the chapter, from the same chapter. Go through that for a day. The next day, multiple choice questions will be uploaded into your WhatsApp. You get a printout of the same, solve the questions on your own, and the next day you will have an online session wherein whatever you have solved questions from the chapter shall be discussed with. Keep watching the videos. Thank you.